And we are live tracking that severe weather. I'm Tanasia Shaw, and I'm live in Boscobel with the aftermath of last night's storms.
From News 3 Now, this is breaking news.
Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jalen Banks. We begin with breaking news. Multiple downtown Madison streets are closed as first responders work to address black smoke coming from underground. Around 3:15 this afternoon, the Madison Fire Department responded to reports of a blown manhole cover emitting black smoke. A perimeter was established around the area of West Washington and West Mifflin Street and Henry Street to Broome Street. Residents between West Washington Avenue, Langdon Street and Broome, Fairchild Streets can expect power outages as crews work to resolve the issue.
We also anticipate that through this work of addressing the fire and mitigating the hazards, that there may be power outages downtown, and there already have been. There may be still some more as crews work to isolate and maintain safety in the scene as they address the situation involving the electricity.
Current estimates for the restoration of power on MG&E's website are about 6 to 6:15 p.m. And just to the east of us is estimated that just in the last 24 hours, over a foot of rain has fallen between Menominee Falls and Milwaukee. And in Milwaukee, flash flooding absolutely ravaging the city, leaving countless streets, cars and homes underwater. Also leading to the final day of the state fair getting canceled. Here's the city's mayor on the devastating flash flooding.
We're seeing reports from some parts of the city that have received more than a foot of rain. This flooding event, it's very significant. It's something that Milwaukee hasn't seen in perhaps a decade or more. My heart goes out to everyone dealing with basement flooding, that have been dealing with power outages, damage to cars, having trees that were uprooted in and around their properties, and a list of other things that have happened as well.
And we have team coverage of the flooding throughout southern Wisconsin. Let's go ahead and get a look at your certified most accurate forecast with the meteorologist Blaze Keller. We'll get to our Tanasia Shaw, who's just north of us in just a second. But Blaze, what do you have for us currently?
We are still continuing to sit underneath that aerial flood watch. Jalen, as you mentioned, and as we just heard, out in Milwaukee County between Menominee Falls and Milwaukee, an estimated foot of rain, if not more, has fallen over the last 24 hours. And we're going to continue to see more rain as we go throughout the rest of this evening. So if we quickly here show you a map of the estimated rainfall over the last 24 hours, you can see, again, often towards the Milwaukee area where we find those yellows over Glendale between Milwaukee and Menominee Falls. That's at least 10 inches of rain, and again, estimated spots nearing 12 inches of rain, if not surpassing that, has been reported. Now, our Tanasia Shaw is out in Grant County, out near Boscobel, and that's where also folks were picking up estimated 5 inches of rain, 6 inches of rain, if not more. I know the emergency management in the Boscobel area did report that some rain gauges had at least 8 inches of rain. And there's still more rain to come. This is going to be our next slow rain maker. This is pushing off towards the northeast slowly at about 20 miles per hour. We are already very saturated. We picked up a lot of rain yesterday. We're coming off of a very wet July in southern Wisconsin, and there's about 2 inches of rain in the atmosphere overhead. So that's a lot of moisture that this next round of rain is going to possibly use. However, the heavy flash flooding type of rain has certainly passed us, but this next round could bring some minor flooding, which is why we still sit underneath that flood watch again until 7 a.m. So as I mentioned, this is where our Tanasia Shaw is. She is out in Boscobel where they're dealing with some flooding issues along with near the Bagley area. So Jalen and folks at home, we're going to take a look at any more rain chances over the next 7 days and talk about what lies ahead for next week in the full forecast.
All right, sounds good, Blaze. Thank you. And as Blaze had just mentioned, our very own Tanasia Shaw is in the Boscobel area in Grant County. She's there tracking the flooding in the area. Tanasia, I see you're just in front of a body of water. What can you share with us? What have you seen out in that area?
Hey, Jalen, yeah, I can share what I'm seeing. So as you said, I'm here live in the Boscobel area near Park and Bluff Drive. And first of all, I just want to tell you guys what I'm feeling and seeing right now. So this grass, all of this, I'm in a creek area, is very soggy, mushy, and wet all over. And then if you come behind, if you come here with me now, you can see this large body of water. Now, this is supposed to be a creek, and I really want y'all at home to know how much water is at this creek right now. So I stand about 5'3". I would guess this is about 6 foot even. So if I was to put this water in here, if I'm putting this stick near the water, you're able to see, just look at how much of that disappears. I would say this is probably only about 1.5 feet. So it really gauges how much water is in this area in Boscobel right now. And then to give you more of a perspective, look right here. This is what the creek is supposed to look like. Just a small, shallow body of water. But as you can see with all the wet branches and all the grass and everything around it, last night's rain obviously had a huge impact on this area. Just before I was live, just a few minutes ago, I talked to a lady in the neighborhood who said the water got so high. It got as high as to, let's take a look right here. So this is the bridge that I'm under right now. It got like just a few feet before being over the bridge. So as you can imagine, that's a lot of water in this area. And we're expected to get even more rain tonight. That could lead to even more flooding. And let me tell you, Jalen, just so you know, this is not the only area impacted. We were driving around County Road S. It's even damaged over there. This is the most that we've seen so far, though. And later, we're going to be all over South Central Wisconsin seeing those damages. And I just want viewers at home to know that areas like this, please be cautious. Don't go into the waters. We don't know what's in there. So please be careful when you're cleaning your homes with your basements or even out here in these areas like this. Jalen, I'm going to send it back to you. I have to go and see some more storm damage.
All right, sounds good, Tanasia, and those of you at home, please be careful this evening as we do get more rain. And as always, you can track the forecast for yourself on the First Warn weather app. It is hourly planners, road conditions, and even radar. You can download it for free in your phone's app store. Just search WISC Weather. One of the state's most noted criminal defense attorneys has died. Jessa Nicholson Goetz died suddenly earlier this week in her home in Middleton. Nicholson Goetz was a highly regarded trial attorney, taking on and winning complex cases. She was a vocal advocate of reforms in the criminal justice system. She was also a frequent contributor on News 3 Now and our newscasts, explaining what was happening in high-profile cases. Jessa Nicholson Goetz was only 42 years old. To an update now, the Dane County Sheriff's Office reported it is continuing its investigation after a person was found dead in a manure pit in Sun Prairie on Saturday. The Sheriff's Office reported there is no indication of a threat to the community and its safety. DCSO reported the Dane County Medical Examiner will release the name of the deceased following the notification of their kin. A man is taken to the hospital following a lightning strike in the Emma Carlin Ice Age Trail head in Palmyra. Crews responded to the trail multiple times and were searched before the hikers were located approximately 1 mile off the roadway. The man was found semi-conscious with a pulse, and signs of a lightning strike were visible on the nearby tree. Fire officials determined that both hikers were in close proximity to the tree at the time of the strike. The lightning caused a ground current which rendered both individuals unconscious. The woman regained consciousness first and was able to render aid to the man. Following a quick assessment, both were safely taken from the scene. Today, the community came out to support UW Health Carbone Cancer Center. Today's event at Capitol Brewery in Middleton was to raise funds for pancreatic cancer research. Pancreatic cancer accounts for 8.5% of all cancer deaths, according to the National Cancer Institute. Starting at 8:30 this morning, it was expected to have 700 participants, and they would choose between participating in several different biking and running events. But due to the weather, the event had to be moved inside, making some adjustments, but it was all for a good cause.
You know, this event's not just about raising money. It's about bringing the people in the community together, our survivors, our caregivers, the task force, and community volunteers. So we want to be able to create a space for support and community.
The Cancer Center is attempting to raise $150,000 this year, with funds going to the center. Coming up next on News 3 Now, the changes the UW Systems is having with their college admissions. Plus, President Trump is expected to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin this upcoming week.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5:30.
Thank you for staying with us. Twins from Wausau got accepted into UW-Milwaukee without submitting applications. As Merrill Hubbard reports, it's part of the University of Wisconsin System's expanded direct admission program.
College is on the horizon as high school seniors get ready for their final year. And for Vivian Pfeiffer, she says getting into college was as simple as talking to her counselor.
They're just like, we signed you up for this, and you're just like, okay, we ball.
Vivian and her twin sister Emery are incoming high school seniors at DC Everest High School near Wausau. Both of them got into UW-Milwaukee through the Direct Admit Wisconsin program.
I do think it's a beneficial program because it takes away a lot of the stress of having to individually apply to schools and make sure you're doing it right.
They are two of nearly 34,000 seniors from 467 schools across Wisconsin who got the offer recently. That's an increase of 155 schools from last year, according to the University of Wisconsin Systems. Under the program, qualified high school students from participating schools are automatically admitted to up to 10 UW universities without ever submitting an application. Vivian says she thinks the program has its pros and cons. She likes how it promotes more access to education, but on the flip side, she says the process feels less personal.
I personally enjoy writing essays, though, so I wouldn't mind if I had to write an essay. But, I feel like they don't really get to know you, because your counselors just sign you up for it.
UW Eau Claire, UW La Crosse, and UW Madison do not participate in the program, but students can still apply to them. For Vivian and Emery, they say they can see UW-Milwaukee on their horizon.
Merrill, thank you. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement is now hiring people over 40. Homeland Security says it needs thousands more deportation agents, so it's removing previous age restrictions and opening up its doors to applicants of all ages, including seniors. The agency's recruitment website features Uncle Sam with a tagline that says, quote, "America has been invaded by criminals and predators. We need to get them out." Officials say 80,000 people have already signed up. Congress recently gave the agency nearly $30 billion to expand. The move comes as immigration enforcement ramps up nationwide. Coming up next on News 3 Now at 5:30, meteorologist Blaze Keller returns with a complete look of your first warn forecast.
We are going to continue to see that chance for rain as we head throughout the rest of Sunday into Monday, especially through the morning hours as this stalled out front pulls in yet another round of moisture out of the plains and slowly pushes off towards the southeast by Tuesday. So that means starting Wednesday onwards through this week, we're looking to be more dry. Maybe an isolated rain chance here and there, but compared to the rain that we saw last night into this morning, that is not in the forecast. So let's take a look at Radar 3000 and take it into Grant County. That's where we're beginning to see some of that activity moving out of Iowa. Most of that heavier rain is still to the west of the Mississippi River, but we are beginning to see some showers developing along 61 in Grant County, stretching just south of Boscobel into South Lancaster. We also find a little rain shower popping up near Dodgeville as well. Out of Iowa, the emergency management is already saying that some of these rainfall rates are up to 1 to 2 inches per hour. And this is moving fairly slowly at about 20 miles to the north and east. So again, this is going to be another maybe inch to inch and a half of rain on top of places that have already been quite waterlogged, to say the least, especially out there in parts of Grant County, western parts of Iowa County, Lafayette County, and along the Wisconsin River there, Richland and Crawford County too. So there's that flash flood warning out in northern Iowa. That goes until 8:15. We still continue to see flood warnings for the Milwaukee area. That goes until the morning hours on Monday. So if you've got friends or family in the Milwaukee area, or you have to drive out there, say overnight or into the morning hours on Monday, know that you're likely going to be still dealing with some flooding concerns as the water continues to drain away. So Future Track a little less active than what Future Track is painting, which is some good news. I don't want to see as much red on the map. That means obviously heavier rain. But this next round of rain is going to move its way slowly off towards central parts of Wisconsin between 5 and maybe 8 o'clock tonight, and then continue to push off towards the east. Again, much like last night, this is going to be very slow moving. So these storms and these showers are just going to rain themselves out. We have about 2 inches of precipitable water overhead, which is a very saturated environment. Our dew points are in the 70s. So again, we're just sitting underneath a very moisture-ridden atmosphere. So anywhere between a half an inch to an inch of rain can't be ruled out. Widespread 1 to 2 inches, I don't necessarily see that. I think what we're going to see is areas that have already been hit get hit again, and we could see isolated spots between 1 inch to 2 inches of rain. So what causes heavy rain events like what we just saw last night? Well, the first thing is going to be high moisture over an area. Warmer air tends to hold more moisture than drier air. So like what we saw last night, what we see right now is a combination of high moisture over an area and a stalled out, slow moving or stationary front, an area of upward motion into the atmosphere where these showers and thunderstorms can develop, rain themselves out, a new one develops, and it's kind of like a chain reaction. And when it comes to flooding and getting rid of some of that water, poor drainage accompanied by heavy rainfall rates, as well as already wet soil. If the ground is already wet, it's going to have a harder time absorbing more of this water. So we kind of have at least 3 of those factors widespread. We've had a very wet July. We've had already wet soil from last night. We have this very moisture-ridden atmosphere above us, as well as a slow-moving or stalled-out front. So again, we could be seeing isolated spots of 1 to 2 inches of rain again this evening. A reminder that aerial flood watch is still in effect until Monday morning. As Tanasia pointed out in Grant County, those waterways are obviously taking in all that water we saw out in Milwaukee. All of the flooding concerns, turn around, don't drown. I saw so many videos coming out of Milwaukee of people driving into these flooded roads, and you just don't know how deep that water is, how fast it's moving. Just don't even chance it.
Yeah, I know you were reiterating that last night as well, just saying, hey, look, please just be safe. And so that's why at the end of Tanasia's live shot, I said, hey, just be careful out there. I know you're covering it, but just get back here safely.
Find an alternate route. It may take a little bit longer, but if it means that your car's not going to get stalled out, you're not stuck in this water, I think that's better to be safe than sorry.
Absolutely. All right. Well, sounds good. Thank you, Blaze. Still to come in sports, the Brewers looking to stay hot amidst all the rain in southern Wisconsin. We'll have their highlights against the Mets next in sports. Football season is back, and last night the Packers opened up their preseason home opener against the Jets.
Here is a 46-yard field goal try on a winless night.
Jordan Love and the first team offense sputtered through most of the game. Love just going 1 for 5 on the day, but Matt LaFleur said there's a lot to work on. Here's the head coach on their first preseason game.
Yes, but there's a lot of things that we absolutely need to clean up. I guess the encouraging thing is that I feel like a lot of these corrections, I mean, we can correct, but we have to go do it, and we have to be urgent about that. So, you know, it wasn't great, but you got to live and you got to learn and you got to move on.
Despite the flooding, the Brewers still had their game against the Mets earlier today. The Crew were down 5 at one point, but things would really start to turn in the 5th. William Contreras at the plate, and he would go yard for a 2-run bomb. That would cut the score to 1, and later at the bottom of the 8th, Mets still up 1, but that would change. Joey Ortiz with a shot down right field, bringing in Bryce Terrain. Now that would tie things up at 6 apiece. Then, in the bottom of the 9th, things would turn magical. Isaac Collins coming in clutch yet again, and he would close the game out with the solo walk-off homer. Can you believe it? Crew go on to win it in spectacular fashion. 7-6 is your final. And a final check of your first one forecast is coming up when we return.
We're looking at another night with that chance for scattered showers and thunderstorms. Some heavy rain may be possible, so that flooding threat is still going to be sticking around, folks. Mid to upper 60s to low 70s. There's a look at your 10-day forecast. The rain officially wraps up by about Tuesday. We remain dry for the remainder of next week.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Blaze. 60 Minutes is up next, and we'll see you back here at 10.